Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good morning, this is the Morning Digest Wednesday edition. Remember, this is the opportunity of the day of opportunities, and the opportunities are big. But this month we chose to take time and just begin to encourage ourselves to gear up, like what the sportsman would say, warm up, because the opportunities are going to be big. One of the key things we are believing for everybody who is watching Elevate is that open doors, opportunities will be available at every level. And you have just to be looking out and be able to link with these doors. But before we do anything, remember the drill. We have the link is already out on YouTube and on Facebook. You can pick it up and put it on your socials everywhere you are. I want you to do that. Let me do mine so that you can also go. If you have not subscribed to YouTube, please subscribe to Elevate TV Kenya. You will always get the prompts that we are on and that something good is happening, and then you can be a participator and one that enjoys the. Yep, my link is already up there. I've shared it. Good. You can share it on WhatsApp. You can share it on your status. You can share it on every. There it is. I've sent you. Now here it is again. I'm sending it also to. There you go. Please do that and you'll be helping somebody. Remember, we said some people just need the opportunity is you giving them a link to hear something they have not heard, because this is the opportunity. And I have a great guest today. Can you believe this? I mean, a beautiful woman of this country. She is here to just tell you you can start again. That's our topic today. You can start again. And this is Joyce. Karibu, Joyce. This is Elevate.
Thank you very much, Moses, and thank you for having me on your show. Yeah. And it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Please look at that camera and introduce yourself to everybody out there.
Hi, my name is Joyce Kaduki, a woman on a mission to develop leaders. I do this through three main ways. The first one is as a wife, a mother, and as a member of my extended family. The second one is in the marketplace as a leadership, executive, business coach, and also as a trainer, facilitator, and a DISC behavior consultant. And the third one is through my ministry. I have a heart for the youth. And so I'm involved in a high school ministry where I go out to speak to young people to encourage them to walk in the ways of the Lord.
So amazing.
Yes.
You know, Joyce, I made it a point a week ago to ask you what is a DISC. What is a DISC consultant?
Yes.
Yeah.
A DISC consultant is someone who uses a model which is represented by those four letters, D, I, S, and C. And the D is about dominant, I is influencing, S is steady, and C is compliant. There's no complication about that. It's just simply thinking about how do people behave. There are those who are dominant, as I have said, from the D, and then there are some who they go to the details and really want to cross the T's and dot the I's, and there's a wiring where each one of us show up in different ways.
I know so one like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so it's about understanding how you're wired, and then how can you maximize the behaviors that come with that type of personality, and then thinking about how to also use how you're wired to connect well with others, to communicate well with others, to lead others better. So it's about becoming a better human, a better leader. Yes.
This is good. Thank you very much. We are talking about starting again.
Yes.
And you know, there's this tendency. January has come, and we need you know, to make these big visions. You know, these plans for the year, which necessarily some people value that, some don't, some just keep with the other plans. But when we are talking about starting again, we are telling somebody, yeah, you may have failed. Yeah, it may not have worked. Yes, you may have done up to here, but you can restart again. What is the value of starting again?
First, let me say I like your broad perspective of looking at this. There's of course a fresh burst of energy that comes with the new year, with January, and I encourage people to ride on that wave. If that gives you the energy that you need to start whatever projects, the programs, the goals that you want to work on the year, go for it. But it doesn't have to be January. It can be September. I have coaching clients who their anniversary month is the time that they set their goals for the year. So whether it's June or September, it really doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year. Beyond that, for the lens through which you're looking at this is having the opportunity to start over after a loss. It can be a job loss, it can be a career change that did not go very well, but even after that failure, realizing that that is not the end of the road. I can start over. I can start over after the death of a loved one. Many of us have gone through those kinds of losses. It's about thinking, I have suffered a broken relationship, but that does not have, whatever I went through does not have to keep me down. I can start over again. So I do love that perspective of opening it up and looking at it from different experiences, especially the bad and painful ones, but knowing that I don't have to stay down, I can rise.
You know, I like what you've just said, you know, all those kind of losses, a loved one, you know, relationships, because they all impact on opportunities. Whether it's your job, they will impact on it. Whether it's your output, they will impact on it. So do you think, you know, when all these things happening, and you know, I had a guy who had, in fact, I think it was featured on national TV the other day, a man who, they were working with somebody on the frontiers, northeastern frontier, and the vehicle they were traveling in was hit by an IED. And what he saw, he just left. He left, went to his village, sat down, and has never come out, and is just in the village. You know, some people now were trying to trace him. They found him in the village, and he was saying he cannot, you know, he's not able to come back to himself into the city and be able to work where he was working. But then I like somebody who said this man just encountered the loss of a very dear workmate, and then also encountered something horrific. You know, death is not something you want to look at. It affected his career. The man is a professional, and he's now in the village, you know, just living a village life. Look at that impact, and then begin to talk about the mental, you know, the way you can change, you know, the, what you call your toughness, mental toughness or resilience. And today we are even talking about mental wellness.
Yes.
Look at that.
Okay. There are different things that one can do to be able to move on, and I'm looking at this from a lay perspective, but also the work that I have done with lay people like myself and like yourself.
No, you are not lay.
In the sense that I'm not a mental health specialist.
Yes. I know that one.
But there's a lot that each one of us can do, and what I encourage myself and others to do, especially as we meet with people who have gone through different experiences and even experienced them ourselves, is first to allow ourselves time to grieve, time to mourn, time to process that experience, like the story that you've just talked about. So it's important to allow yourself to grieve and really process whatever has just happened. But beyond the grieving, then take the next step and don't stay down. I have a friend who told me that when you fall, first, don't be in a rush to stand up. While you're down there, pick the pieces that are you know, they have fallen under the bed,
Yes,
under
yes.
the tables.
Yeah.
And what that meant is take time to process what is down there, that low, cry, whatever it takes for you to be able to process that,
Yes.
defeat that, encounter that experience, deal with it. But after that, then look for a way out. Now, many times, or sometimes, we can be able to stand up on our own, but there are other times that we need the help of someone else.
Yes.
It could be a friend, it could be a relative, it could be a professional, their counselors, their coaches, their mentors. So someone who will help you move on from the place of defeat, the place of sad emotions, the place of just not being able to deal with stuff.
Thank you. That was very well executed. I really like that. What about the place of, you see, when you're looking at opportunities, on Wednesday we look at opportunities.
Yes.
So we look at the opportunities available, and you are starting again. What is a place of self-discovery where you begin to now take account? I am Moses.
I love that. And self-discovery, self-awareness, taking stock of what you have is a big part of being able to take advantage of opportunities. Because if you don't know yourself, it's going to be very difficult to grow yourself. So taking time to discover your strengths and weaknesses. Of course, by a certain stage of life, we know quite a number of them, those strengths. But there's always something new that you can discover or rediscover, something you may have forgotten. So taking time to take stock, and then in addition to learning the strengths and the areas of growth, there's also the passions, the abilities, what interests do I have, so that even as you move forward, you're building on that which aligns well with your strengths. So you're not groping in the dark and trying to do things that you're not well equipped. And even when there's an opportunity and you don't necessarily have what it takes, it's also being able to acknowledge, if I pursue this opportunity, then I will need certain kind of help, and being able to identify that. And so yes, self-awareness, self-discovery is a big part of moving forward.
It's true, because you see, I remember COVID taught us many lessons. I mean, you saw very many lost jobs, very many lost so much. There was a lot of loss. Yet at the other, on the flip side, others were actually growing and making it big at the same time. But those who made losses were more. Loss of jobs, actually, especially the loss of jobs. And I remember one man, he wanted to go back home, and somebody just whispered to him, boss, what more can you do beyond that job? What more can you do? And he just jolted the guy. He began to look at his interests. There are things we don't take notice of, that you are good at this. The guy is very good at social media, amazingly. The guy, if you looked at his page, he was a worker, a good worker, but if you looked at his page, the neatness, the work, the posting, everything, is on point. And he was, he's the kind of guy you would admire. I want a page like this one.
Yes.
And, he was being asked, what else can you do? He's so discouraged. In fact, he was actually packing, going home. He's saying, I'm taking all these children to my mom. I'm going to come back to the city, so, the word hustle.
Yes.
And then this guy told him, no. What do you have that we can employ right away before we go home? That we can at least put the people here, then we can work. And the guy told him, no, we admire your page. And that was the beginning point of that guy. Today he's one of the guys, he handles I think 7 pages, and they are corporate pages. They are not just small pages.
Yes.
Is a guy who earns more more times than even he was working for. And I want you to just out of your words, talk about the place where you can be brought into discovery by your networks or the people around you.
Okay. Allow me, before I do that, to pick up on what you have just said about asking what is that you have in your hands. It's even scriptural.
Yes, it's scriptural.
When you go back to the Bible, the story of Moses,
yeah.
and Moses had a staff, something which could have looked very simple,
Yeah.
and not being able to do much with it. But that is what God used, what was in Moses' hands, to part the waters so the children of Israel could cross. And God used that even in the desert. And so it's about asking, what is that in your hands? Then in terms of now your question about using your networks, and that is something that I find is important in life, because you will not know about every opportunity, you will not know about different places where you may be able to apply your skills. There are people who are out there who will know, and so taking advantage of those networks, and taking advantage in a positive way, in the sense that what you have, there is someone out there who is looking for the skill you have, looking for the type of experience that you have, and looking for what you have to offer. And because you don't have a direct connection with them, then you may not get to a place where you're able to then deliver that service or help others using what you have. And so when you then use your networks, and this can be networks in the family, there can be networks in the professional space, they can be networks even among people that you have just met, acquaintances. I remember several years ago, at one time, I was in between places in my career journey, and I happened to be at our son's sports day. I was having a conversation with someone and mentioned that I was in between jobs, and then the person said, hold on, I've just been talking to so-and-so over there, and they are looking for exactly the type of skills that you have to offer.
Wow.
And they went, called the person, and introduced us. And from there, we had a conversation, and I ended up then working with the organization that this person was representing for a number of years. And so that is just, in a simple way, an example of how network. So speaking about what you have to offer, what you're looking for, and how that can connect you to someone who's looking for what you have. This can be in social spaces. I have been able to get a connection to opportunities at family gatherings. So having a conversation with a brother-in-law, I remember, this is just one of several. And so do not underestimate, and I'm talking to, of course, someone out there who will be listening to this recording or is even watching right now.
Actually, look at that camera and just speak to them directly.
Okay.
Yes.
And so do not underestimate the networks that you have in the family, in the professional spaces, and even in a place where you're new and you're just making acquaintances, because dropping a word can connect you to your next opportunity.
Joyce, I want you just said something amazing about your in-between jobs or in-between opportunities. Let's use that word.
Yes.
And being in between opportunities, and you made use of that network. What about when somebody is in between these opportunities, you're in between opportunities and you're thinking about your skills, and think about, there's something I read about called transferable skills. And you're in between jobs. How can you work out that thing and transfer, bring in the transferable skills? How does it work?
There are different ways in which that could work, but one of them goes back to something that we had touched on earlier, and it's about the self-discovery. Because again, even if you knew, say, the types of skills that you had 5 years ago, between that time and now, there's a lot more that you have learned just in the course of, say, sitting in an accounts office or going out as a salesperson or in customer service. There's a lot that you pick out on a day-to-day basis. And because you're so busy, you may not necessarily realize how much you have grown over a period of time. And therefore, when you take a pause and then think about, who am I today? How have I grown over the past while? What additional skills didn't I have 5 years ago, but I have now that I can use in the next space where I'll be working, where I'll be serving, where I'll be making a difference. And so taking stock for me is a big one.
Wow, brilliant.
Yes.
I want to talk about something we always say, it is here with us. It's called change. Embracing change, because they say the only thing that is permanent is called change. As we are talking about starting again and embracing change, I want you to just pull out some encouragement for someone, but that change is here, so you better do something about it.
And change is your friend.
I like
change
that.
is your friend in the sense that if you don't embrace change and yet everything is constantly changing, then you will actually be in decline. And so looking at change as it is, as being a friend, will help someone not be afraid to take on what is coming. Of course, it feels comfortable to just lean back into what I know, something that I'm familiar with, and not have to face something that is new, something that could be threatening. But there's also, as we have come to realize, I mean, through the COVID period and even after, where something drastic happens, something that looks threatening, but even in that threatening situation, there's opportunity. In fact, we had over and over again that in crisis lies opportunity.
Yes.
In problems lie opportunities. And so learning to then open ourselves up to the opportunities that come with the problems, and then realize for us to be able to tap into that opportunity, it will take us having to change. It will take us having to be comfortable with things and people around us changing, because change is about growth and growth is about change. And therefore, for someone to grow, then you need to be comfortable with change.
Joyce, would you maybe just on a practical level, pick up areas somebody should embrace change quickly? And first of all, it's a mental change. You have to change your attitude towards things. Just be practical a bit. Some of these guys watching, they may say, okay, yes, you have said change then.
Okay. What I'd like to do is borrow from my own journey. My background is in business. So did business degree and then worked in the areas of finance and accounting for many years. As I did that, I got interested in the whole field of leadership. And somewhere at some point in my career, I felt I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but I want to move on to something different, have greater impact. And that is when I made the transition to be trained and certified as a coach and a leadership consultant. And that took my having to make a shift, realize that yes, I have been doing finance and accounting for very many years and I'm comfortable with this, but I can be able to take on a different challenge, so take on different opportunities. Now, it would have been, well, not it would have been, when I was making that change, I had people asking me, where are you moving from something that you have done for so many years and moving on to something that is completely different, something that you have not done before. But I knew in my heart of heart, first of all, I knew that this is something that I want to do. And then knowing that this is something that I want to do, then I had to, you talked about mindset, and I had to ask myself, okay, now how am I going to make it work? And first of all, it's believing that, yes, this is the new road, the new path that I'm getting onto, and I will do what it takes to find out, to succeed in this new space, and to have an impact in this new space, the kind of impact that I want to have. What type of person do I need to become And so going into that, knowing that failure is not an option. Well, of course, the failures will come, but I will not stay down.
Yes.
Even as I fail, it's about, people talk about failing forward. And so it's about picking the lessons that I'm encountering along the way, and then asking myself, how do I use what I'm learning, what I'm going through, to apply in the journey going ahead, so that then it becomes a success.
Joyce, when you do those changes, what is your support system like? You know, like you're saying you're coming from finance. Of course, that's an effect. It will affect, you know, on some areas of your lifestyle, maybe even of your family. How was your system of support around it? Just to pick from you.
I love that you talk about support, because I found, and I have found, that is a big factor in terms of being able to move forward. So at different times, I have tapped into different parts of that support system. There's my family, and asking them to hold me accountable, and also when I'm going through times of discouragement, because those do come when you're on a new venture. So the other people, I come back and tell, hey, today I am so disappointed. I am so down. And I experienced A, B, C, and D, and I just feel like, you know, I just feel like crying. So having family to listen to those stories and to empathize with me, and to know that these are people who have my back, and these are people who understand I can be vulnerable with them. So there's the family. And then there's also reaching out to mentors. So people who have walked the journey, people who have had similar types of experiences. Their stories may be a bit different, but their stories to pick their lessons to pick from their stories. So those type of people, mentors. Then I also have accountability partners. An accountability partner is simply someone who's on a growth journey, similar growth journey. They may be working on a different type of project or on a different program, but they are growing in a sense. And so keeping one another accountable. For example, saying, Moses, last week when we met, I told you that I would do A, B, C, and D. So steps 1 up to 4. And in that period of time, I've been able to do, say, step 1, 2, and 3. So having someone who will ask me, how are you doing? Because then when I know that my accountability partner will be waiting to hear my report, if nothing else, at least that will push me and help me take the next step. And then of course there's a space, there's the room for coaches. I'm a coach myself, and I, even as a coach, I work with coaches because I'm also on a growth journey, and I want to tap into the potential that God has given me to achieve a lot more. And so tapping into a wide range of support people, support networks.
I think those are good. Those support networks you have just mentioned. Many people, as much as we mention them, some people don't have them. Actually, the other day I was just talking to somebody, and we were discussing something about an accountability partner. And it sounds accountability partner, and later, after discussion, he said, surely everybody needs one. Everybody needs one, because if you're going to keep it up, you have to do that. I want us to go for a break, and then we shall be back, and we shall pick up from that place of accountability partners. Because we are on a trajectory right now. We are talking about you can start again, and we'll be reading our comments online as you please ask or speak or actually contribute or even ask Joyce anything you want. I think she's ready for today. See you after the break.
Nico Works Now Trust is a program that comes to you on Elevate TV every Friday at 7:30 p.m. In this program, we dwell into the journey of small and micro enterprises in the country.
Tulikuwa tunafulia watu manguo, wengine walikuwa wameandikwa house girls, lakini saa hii tumetoka hapo.
You can get the story from domestic workers to people handling 150,000 shillings per month. They're just 13 people. We look at the challenges that they're facing.
The city council will harass you for anything, whether you have documents or not. Roads, traffic, such things really affect us.
And we tap into the opportunities available in the sector.
Hiyo unit tulikuwa tunaambiwa tusikue employees, tujaribu tukue ma employers. So nikaamua naweza anzisha kakao kadogo mashinani.
So nikaona badala niuze gas pekee, nikaanza na vitabu kidogo, books za kuandika na stationery. Nikasoga hivyo, after some time nikaona I still can sell the textbooks.
Join me, Collins Otas, every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Elevate TV, and let us journey together in this show.
Back. I hope you have done opportunity to send the link to somebody else so that we can engage in this conversation. Remember, this conversation, you can pick it and take it online. We are going to answer every one of those your requests. There's a number there. You can WhatsApp. Don't call. It's a WhatsApp line, so you just need to text and we shall get back to you. But you can also place your comment or your statement online on YouTube and on Facebook. Kelvin Kiprop Cheruiyot is watching, and he says, I like the point that change should be our friend.
I'm glad that was an encouragement to Kelvin.
That's a very, very important statement. Change should be your friend. And I think, it's only somebody used a word, he said, it's only somebody who is not going anywhere, who does not befriend change. Because change is here for us to grow. Every time change comes is an opportunity to step forward and put your best foot forward. You're talking about accountability, accountability partners and their role and their role, to just hold you to accountability and tell you, no, here you need to go back and finish this step. I want you to emphasize on that one, because many of us don't see the need of accountability partners, people who can bring you are vulnerable. You are saying, no, I will allow myself to be vulnerable to this individual so they can bring me to my next place, because I know their intention is to help me grow, is to bring me to the next place. I want you to, in a short few words, to emphasize the importance of that.
I'll pick up on something that you've just said about an accountability partner, and this is working with someone who has the interest in helping you grow, because accountability works best when it's someone who has your back, someone who wants you to succeed, because we know in life not everyone wants you to succeed.
Oh, yes.
And therefore, picking someone who wants to see you progress and does not have a vested interest. So your growth is not necessarily what will take them forward, but they just want you to grow. And in my own life, I keep working with accountability partners, and sometimes I change them. Now, what happens is I am giving permission to someone to ask me how I'm doing. And the way I do it, this may work for someone, it may not necessarily work, but someone can always pick from this framework and then tweak it to what suits them best. So it's meeting with someone, and I say over the next, 3 months, these are the 3 top things that I'm working on. This is where I want to go over the next 3 months. And therefore, would you help me by asking me the hard questions, not making it easy for me, but just holding me to account and ask, how are you doing in this area? And then what we'll normally do is agree to meet, say, on a weekly basis or fortnightly, whatever works for you. Sometimes it may be a monthly basis. And it doesn't have to be a very detailed meeting. Then when we meet, then it's saying, okay, the last time we met, Joyce, you told me you're working on these 3 things. How are you doing? And these are the milestones that you had worked that you wanted to hit over that period of time.
Yes.
How are you doing? And in them asking that question, it's not to take me on a guilt trip, say over there, say 1 out of the 4 things that I've not been able to work on, but it's just to encourage me and to help me, remind me, you told me you're on a journey, and let's continue on that journey until you get to where you want to be. And so it's simply having a companion. There's saying that I like, that it's a popular one, that if you want to go quickly, go alone.
Go alone, yeah.
But if you want to go far, then go with others. And an accountability partner is one of those who will help you go far, because then you're walking on a journey together. It's easy to make commitments, make New Year resolutions, identify goals and objectives that you want to work on, but then they could remain just that, resolutions and goals, and you don't work on them. But when you have the accountability partner, then that helps you to keep revisiting and to tracking the milestones, and also even setting new milestones. I have been able to achieve this, and I want to go even further. And so you're able to go further with someone by your side.
Thank you for being very practical. I think that's very, very practical. Now, change and beginning again has some financial impact. You're a finance person. It has, at the end of the day, it will impact on your finances somewhere, whether you have them or you don't have them. What can you say about it? Did it impact on you first, and then what did you do?
Okay. It's true, change has a financial impact, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes you need much more than just the finances. In my work, I also coach entrepreneurs. And one of the things that entrepreneurs and business owners is, one of the areas that we look at is, what capital do you have as a business person? Sometimes it's that, well, not sometimes, of course, that financial capital comes in. And I'm using capital here in terms of the resources that you need. So there's financial capital. But there's also social capital, where you're thinking about the networks that you have and the connections, and connections in a positive way, because those are some of the things that will help you grow in your entrepreneurial journey. And what we have discovered, a lot of the times we're having those conversations, is sometimes the biggest thing that you need is not always the capital. Because when, for example, you have the networks, and they can be networks in terms of people that you know, but even others that you don't know, now those can connect you to the finances that you need. It may be in terms of borrowing, either soft loans. Sometimes you're connected to opportunities where you realize, oh, it's a grant, you don't even have to pay. But it started with knowing someone who knows another someone who has the finances that you need. So yes, the finances are a big part of it, but not having the finances at one point should never be a cause to hold someone down, because there's always a way. There's always a way. My mentor, John Maxwell, says, and he keeps repeating this over and over to those of us who are part of the program that he runs, but also I've heard him say this in public, that one of the things that is important to ask in life is, how can I? How can I, as opposed to can I? Because when you ask, can I, you're even doubting, you're not even sure that you can be able to do something. But when you ask, how can I, in the context of finances, which is what we are talking about, it's saying, I want to do A, B, C, and D, but I don't have the money that I need to do it, how can I raise that money? How can I raise those finances and whatever other resources that I need to be able to then achieve what I have set for myself?
Amazing. I like the how can I. You know, that already changes the perspective.
It does.
It changes the perspective because the question we always ask is how can I, can I do this? How can I? Already in my mind, I found what I'm going to do about a project. I'm doing. How can I? Thank you. I'm already helped. What about change? Change has to impact on maybe the cultural values, cultural, environments or atmospheres, and maybe what I want to change into, I need to go into a new culture, or maybe it is directed to a certain, I'm used to this, now I'm going into this, and of course there's a social change there. How can you tell somebody how to adjust to that social change?
The beauty about the world that we are living in today is a world that has opened up. There's so much just on the internet, and we are connected to so many people who before would not be part of our day-to-day living.
Yes.
Just at the click of a button, you get access to a thought leader somewhere, and you tap into their way of thinking. And so realizing that, yes, there are new spaces that we need to go to, there are social, there are cultural norms that we need to break or to deal with before we can be able to get into new territories. So taking advantage of all the learning that we can acquire, but also there's also watching what other people are doing. There's so much that I have learned from reading books, from watching clips on YouTube, because picking out that which is relevant to me and that which is in line with what I want to do. And so taking that journey, again, it's walking that journey with others, but learning from others who have walked that journey, learning from the biographies of others who have gone through hard times, but being able to break through modes, even the socio-cultural ones that we are talking about.
And we are not just talking about, when you talk about that, people go traditions. I'm going back to my village. We are even talking about global, the global change. You have come into a global space. How do you behave? Your business or the opportunity you want to breaking into is going to bring you into a global space. You see that change, and I think that's what you're discussing.
That is very true. Yeah, because the space, the stage has opened up.
Yes.
The stage has opened up, and conversations that I have on a daily basis, both the family front and even with people out there, is I have realized that people are working. People are working internationally. Yes, more and more. Even young people fresh out of college, they are getting opportunities out there. And so, yes, the stage that we are playing on is the global
stage.
Yes.
So that we don't also lose the opportunity to see. Yeah, because you see, sometimes some people have lost it there. Yes, you are broken through, come in there, and lost it again, and you have made a change. I remember a friend of mine, sad one, but got an opportunity, and this was a global space, and I think he went with a local mind. The way he started dealing with, the way you would deal with some people is not the way we deal here. This is not the place where you tell them I'm coming in 2, and you are 10 minutes away, and he actually got late for 3 meetings, and that thing was cancelled, just like that. I mean, and they had already given him the work. They said, we cannot work with you because you are not, first of all, you are dishonest by saying you are here and you are not. You are dishonest because you don't keep time, and he lost it. You see, the change.
Yeah. If I may divert a bit, Moses, we
Please
are
do.
yes,
Please
and
do.
yes, we are talking about change, but we are also talking about starting over.
Starting over.
Now, this, of course, for this person that you know was unfortunate, but it's also an opportunity, because now that they went through that and they lost an opportunity because of something they had not experienced before, something which where they came from would have been
normal.
Yes, normal, would have not lost them that opportunity. But then they realize, oh, in this new space, the global stage, the way I operated before, I cannot continue to operate that way. So hopefully this person then learned, so that the next time there's an opportunity like that, they will remember, oh, last time I lost a great opportunity because I had not changed either my mindset or the way I operate. And so what lessons can I draw from there? So in that starting over, that I see that as an opportunity for that
to
person
start again.
With adjustments.
I like that. We need to talk about creativity and starting over again, because as you start again, I believe there's a place, and a key place, for creativity. Because sometimes if you're starting again and you have this, or you're used to a routine, and you come with this routine here, it will not work. So you need to be creative. And it has worked, even for me.
Yes.
Just becoming creative.
Yes. One of the things that we are talking a lot about in the leadership space, and leadership, it's about our everyday life. It's about creativity and innovation. There, again, going back to COVID and what followed after, there's so many lessons that we learned from there. That what worked before, what worked yesterday, may not necessarily work today.
Yes.
And tomorrow will also not work. And therefore, being in a mode of where we are constantly creating, constantly coming up with different ways of doing things and looking at things differently. And so it takes a shift, a mind shift, where we learn to operate looking at things from a different perspective, and also looking at the resources that we have. So it's not just the environment, but also the resources that we have. Again, the opportunities that are coming up are something that we didn't envision. As we learned from the World Economic Forum and other bodies, that the jobs that a lot of the jobs that will be relevant in, say, 2030. Some of them have not even they don't exist today. And when there are those types of which will come, because those will be opportunities. But how do we position ourselves on a daily basis in a way that we are able to tap into opportunities that come up in a way that the work that we are doing, again, like you said, what worked yesterday will not work today. Technology changing, the whole space that has been impacted and continues to be impacted by AI, artificial intelligence. That is, it's a new world, and it will just continue to change. And therefore, having a creative and innovative mindset, knowing that, oh, I need to be in a state where I'm constantly asking myself, how can I work in the new world? How can I take advantage of the new opportunities that are coming? Which of the skills do I know? Do I have? Can I be able to apply in this? The transferable skills that you referred to earlier. But which additional skills will I need? And then, if I don't have them, how can I still make this work, even with the whatever I already have? Because again, opportunities sometimes do not last.
No, they are not there.
Yes, and you need to be creative about how to tap into.
So simply saying, you need to adapt to technological changes that are coming in. And you know, technology is shifting as fast as 2 months. You actually, what you used to have is not the same one. You know, like if you look at technology today, what you are using 6 months ago, actually you need to update. Even your phone, you need to update it. So you know, embracing technology. You know, there are people and companies that never you know, developed an attitude of, you know, embracing technology, but today they are not there. I don't want to mention some of them, but we know them. But you know, most of us are not tech savvy, right? And I want us to think about the place of learning. You know, we say learning is lifelong. you keep learning, and I like what you said. You keep watching, you keep reading, you keep just encouraging somebody that learning. You don't stop learning. They say when you stop learning, you start dying.
You start dying. Yes. In fact, there's a common phrase that it says you change or die. So, and that, of course, that change comes with the learning. But there's something that you said I want to give a different angle. This is about maybe many people not being open to change. And sometimes I feel that it's not in every area, but because think about it. How many people are using Uber? And I'm just speaking this as an example. Using Uber, they were not, 5 years ago, they were not using. Now, using Uber, you need to have that, you download the app. And so at the click of a button, then you're able to order your ride. And so there are some things that we adapt to very quickly. Now, it's taking this same mindset to other areas of our lives, and you realize, oh, it's nothing new. It's just what I'm already doing, but then I take it to other spaces. And so if it's about, I know I find it easy sometimes when I say I have a new gadget and I want to ask my son or my daughter, I want them to do the work for me, because in that space, sometimes I'm being lazy. So it's confronting that either laziness or not wanting to adapt, realizing that if I don't change, then I am at the risk of missing opportunities.
Well, I want to take you out of what you're saying right now, and I want you to help someone. Someone is online, someone called Derek. Derek is saying he is from remand, means prison, and he says, please help me to start again. And he says, can you advise on how I can start all over again after losing everything? I don't know what he's trained or anything. Those are his words. Please, I want you to speak to Derek specifically now.
All right.
Yeah.
Derek, thank you for tuning in and even being bold enough and vulnerable to talk about the space that you're in, just having come out of the difficult place that you have been. And this is an important first step in terms of your growth journey. So even as you ask this question, I commend you and I congratulate you because of realizing that there's something that you can be that you can do. You don't have to stay where you are and not be stuck in the past. Now, that being the first step, the next step is to then look at yourself and the resources that you have. Before you went into that difficult space, there are some skills that you had, there's some experience that you had, and there are people that you knew. And I'd like you, I encourage you to sit down and ask yourself, what do you have in your hands? What skills do you have? What learning have you had? What experiences have you had? And then try and connect that with something that you want to do in the future. And do not limit yourself. Allow yourself to dream and think about, in 5 years' time or in 10 years' time, this is the kind of life I want. Now, even as you think about that, don't let the current situation get in the way of thinking about how you will move forward. So what we are doing is looking at where you are right now, looking at where you would want to be, and then after that, asking yourself, who can I reach out to for help? Now, some of the people that who will help you on your journey, some of them you may not even know them right now, but there are some who are in your circles right now. And so check around you, your family, your church, your community, maybe even former teachers. Who of the people in your networks can you call on, and they may be able to connect you with a person who will help you in the next step. And then after that, take one step after another. Just take one small step and you'll be well on your way to creating a new life for yourself.
Amazing. I hope, Kelvin, something has been dropped into your mind and help. Remember that this is created for you. Thank you, Joyce, for that. At least Kevin, my friend Derek will remember that. Now, I want to ask you, as we wind up, because time is up. Can you believe it? Time is up, and there's something as you start again, and now I like what Derek has brought about, overcoming adversity. Just, because look at our situation, and we don't know if we don't know the circumstances around how he ended up there, and you can call that an adversity. I mean, something has just happened. He has lost everything. Just for somebody else out there, how do you overcome? And I'm not saying you have overcome adversity. I'm just saying from your experiences in life, and you have seen people overcome. You have been able to maybe even help somebody overcome them. And I want you to speak that to somebody on the screen.
All right.
Yeah.
When you've gone through adversity of whatever kind, then there's some, because there are the hard feelings, the emotions that come with that. And what I find very helpful is to first allow yourself to process that. And then after processing, so when I talk about processing, it's to allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to mourn, and allow yourself to come to terms with what you've lost. But then take the next step and realize that the past does not define you. And so that adversity, whatever difficult situation that you went through, it's in the past. And there's the opportunity to start again. And there's something I love about starting over. I say that for as long as you're breathing, there's always the opportunity to start over and to move forward. And you don't need to know the whole way how you'll get to your desired future destination, but taking one step after another then will get you to where you need to be.
Wow, Joyce, we seem now to have closed down. I want you to take this opportunity and just let the viewers know how can they get to Joyce.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the social media space, I'm more active on LinkedIn and Facebook, and use the name Joyce Kaduki. And then there's also my webpage, www.johnmaxwellgroup.com/Joyce Kaduki. And I would love to connect with as many of you as resonate with what we're talking about, the growth and the being able to start over and to start a new life.
Wow, Joyce, we can say a lot. There's a lot we can talk, but time fails us because every program is scheduled on a time frame. And I really want to thank you from your busy schedules. You've been able to make time to be at Elevate. And we, on behalf of Elevate Television, I want to appreciate you. Thank you for taking time to be here with us, and also to give us what you gave us today. We pray that it's going to be of great impact to our community also. And we welcome you to this community. You are free to call us and tell us what you are doing and how you are doing it, if it's good and if it's bad. We want accountability partners.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. So thank you very much and for that time. So that's what we could guard for you, and we really want to thank you for tuning in. We always want to tell you, keep it elevate. Every time we have guests like Joyce and others that are that are able to help us, let's keep tuned in. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also our Facebook channel, our X, and also we have Instagram. We are on all these channels. You can link up with us, and we can give can get up heads up on every other product you want. Listen, you can also tell us what we are not doing. You have that opportunity. Let us know what we are not doing, what we can improve, and how we can bring in what you feel is relevant to you. We are welcome and open. See you after next week. We'll sit again for opportunities, but keep it elevate. Thank you for watching. God bless you.